How you doing, Bryan? How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thanks so much for chatting to me.
Yeah.
So we've been following Sasha and Charlotte in the build-up to their Hell in the Cell match.
Okay.
What are your opinions generally about the women's division, and why do you think it's become so hugely popular, especially like this year?
I just think it's a matter of WWE putting emphasis on it. I think it always could have been big. It's just they never put the emphasis on it. The girls, the women were usually filler matches, right? So they would just be there to fill time. Oh, we want the women, and they're there to look pretty, and people go, oh, that was fun. But it wasn't meant to be something serious. It wasn't like they weren't looking at the women to draw people in. And I think fans themselves are the ones who pushed this revolution. Like, it was actually Brie, my wife, was in the ring, and they had like a 30-second match. Like, Brie went in the ring, I think she pinned Emma or something, and all of a sudden, all on Twitter and everything, there was this hashtag "Give Divas a Chance," right? And people were ready.
It's totally fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Bryan, I'm talking to your wife.
Oh, hey Brie, I was just talking about you being in the ring when Give Divas a Chance started. Yeah.
Can we get Brie on speakerphone? Can she
Yeah.
talk about the divas?
Wait, can you get on speaker?
Bree, you're going to be on speaker and be recorded. Bree?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so don't use your sailor mouth. You have to
Yeah.
use your professional mouth.
Okay, I don't have a sailor. I'm soon to be mom.
Yeah, I was just talking to them about the Give Divas a Chance when it started trending during your guys' match.
Oh yeah, and our tag match versus Page.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, okay, get out of my
Yeah,
interview.
when-
Nobody wants to talk to
I
you.
want to be right here. So how about real quick, Bray was like, I was just telling Bray, Bray, you're still on speaker. He like came up, he's like, oh hey Nikki, goes, oh my gosh, no, Brie, and gave me a hug. And then I was like, it's Nikki, and he goes, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it's Nikki. And he was like so weirded out. Second time it's happened to me today.
Do you know why? It's because of your
It's my
hair.
dark hair,
I was going to say, when I saw you walking down, I thought it was Brie.
Yeah.
And then I'm like doing this in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, Bryan! Your husband looks very cute.
Nikki, while you're here,
Yeah.
we're just doing a show about Sasha and Charlotte and their Hell in the Cell match.
Yeah.
Would you mind if I ask your opinion about it?
No, not
And
at
what
all.
you think, and why you think the female wrestling has become so popular?
Yeah.
this
Should
year?
I let you finish with Bryan?
No, you can go because I'm sure you've got stuff to do.
Oh. Well, you do too, don't you?
No.
Okay. Should I have Bree on speaker?
If you
Oh,
like.
yeah. Oh, so you want to know my thoughts right now?
Yeah. Is it? we
Can
pick
I
it
go
up
like
on
this?
one?
If we could put it on her quick, it might be better.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Well,
going to be a
I'll
whole
come
day. Why
back.
don't you just come back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, give
thank
us
you.
a chance.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Hey, Brie.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Aw.
What does she call you?
Sweet face.
Oh, I thought she said shit face.
No.
Okay. That's good.
That's sailor mouth.
Yeah. So what were you saying?
I honestly, I don't know, but I
About the
think,
match with Give Divas a Chance.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was a natural progression of people being frustrated with the slot that women had been given for so long, and WWE finally coming around to that.
And speaking as one of the greatest wrestlers on the face of the planet, presumably it means quite a lot to you to see the women being focused on as athletes as opposed to, models.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's an important part of the transition, right? So the men, right? There are a lot of times male wrestlers are hired because of their look, right? Because of their size, because of this. And it's still the same thing with women now, right? A lot of them are hired for their look and whatnot. But now they have to be able to go in the ring. You have to.
Yeah.
Because people won't accept anything else. And it's because of this change, this shift in mentality. The idea is not pillow fights, bra and panty matches. The idea is who's the best woman in the WWE, and they're competing for a title. In MMA there was a big shift of like, okay, UFC didn't want to book women fighters because who wants to see women fight? And then Ronda Rousey came along, and yeah, she's people find her attractive, but that wasn't the deal. She was a badass, right? And that's what we're finding with the women too, is that, okay, yes, some of them are attractive and that sort of thing, but that's not the important part. That's not the focus. That's not the key. The key is that they're great at what they do.
Yeah. And I think it's fair to say you always sort of pushed yourself when you were in the ring, pushed boundaries, like physically took a lot of risks because I guess you wanted to put on the best matches and be known as one of the best. What do you think of the women going into a match like Hell in a Cell, where the risks are pretty great and the fans' expectations are quite great as well?
So I think that's the really hard part, is the expectations. What do the fans expect, right? And how can they go out there and meet those expectations? And it's a really difficult spot to be in, because not only was it the first women's match to main event a pay-per-view, it was also the first women's match in a Hell in a Cell match. So that's like compounding. Like if they would have just gone out there and been the first main event of a pay-per-view and a regular singles match, right?
Yeah.
That would have plenty of pressure on it, but not the same kind of pressure as, okay, now you're also doing a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
So I think it just to me, it's important in the transition to get women to the point where they can be in not only main events, but also in the stipulation matches. They should be able to be in Hell in a Cell matches. They can be in ladder matches or TLC matches or no DQ matches or street fights or whatever it is. Whatever it is that the guys can do, the women can do just as well, right? Yeah. That's an important thing. But I thought it was a lot of pressure to do both things at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And why do you think now it's happened? Like you talk about WWE putting emphasis on the division, but why do you think the company has chosen to do that? Is it something about society? What do you think's changed?
No, I think the Ronda Rousey stuff really helped. It really pushed that idea of that not only was she a main event person in UFC, but she was the one who had not the most buys, but she was at the top, right? She was, for a while, as far as outside of regular fight fans, who was the biggest MMA fighter? Everybody knows Ronda Rousey, right?
Yeah.
And now there's competition between her and, say, Conor McGregor, but it's between a guy who typically fights at 145 pounds, which they never saw that weight class as being the star-driven thing, and between the top-rated female fighter, you know? So I think it's just they really pushed that boundary, and then it helped that they had, like, Charlotte, who is Ric Flair's daughter, right? Who is like, and Triple H being really close to Rick and that sort of thing, and like, okay, she's a Flair, and then this and that, you know, that sort of thing, and then Triple H getting that kind of control down at NXT to give them the opportunity to succeed there first, and then slowly being able to come up here and then do that. So I think it was a whole evolution, really.
A lot of stars had to align to make it.
A lot of stars had to align for that to work, and the right people in the right places and that sort of thing. And you know, the sad thing to me is that there have been so many great female wrestlers here in WWE that weren't necessarily part of the women's revolution, but are part of this idea of like progressing the idea forward. You know, Beth Phoenix was fantastic. When I talk to my wife, she talks about who the best people she's ever been in the ring with. Beth Phoenix is, you know, at the top of the list. People like Mickie James and people who are trying to, but the creative was still such that it's not, oh, well, they're still not, it was almost like they were treated as just the women. As like, here's the women, and they can go out there and kick ass.
Yeah. And just going back to fans' expectations, we've been talking to Charlotte and Sasha quite a lot. And sort of before the match, they were kind of saying, we don't let that pressure get to us. We're not really concerned about what the fans think. But then after the match, they were talking about their disappointment at things that didn't quite go right and what people might be saying. And so I feel like it's such a personal thing. And I guess you can relate to that in terms of your performance in the ring.
Yeah, well, so for me, one of the hardest things to do was to main event Ring of Honor shows, which was an independent company that I worked for. Everybody's trying to go out there and have the best possible match. You get the same thing now in WWE pay-per-views. It's interesting how it's transitioned into that, where every single match is going out there and trying to be the best match, right? And so you have this pressure on you when you're in the main event of, you have to send these people home happy, because if you don't send the people home happy, they leave with a bad taste in their mouth. Even if the greatest match in the history of wrestling was on number 3, but then everything else is a letdown after that, when you're leaving the show, you're like, man, that third match was great, but the last hour it was just and so that's a lot of pressure to put on people, and I honestly think they did a really good job, and I don't think they'd feel disappointed at all if Sasha had won, and they would have gotten that reaction in Boston where, whoa, like, because they were waiting, the fans were waiting for that, watching it, the fans were waiting for that, and then they didn't get it, and it's not that the women did a fantastic job, but the crowd was expecting something that they never got, and then they sat on their hands. So, and that has nothing to do, to me, with what the women went out there and did. It's just sometimes the right person doesn't win the match.
And can you just quickly talk about the passion that people have for this business? Like, spending a lot of time with Sasha and Charlotte over the last week or so, they seem to be sort of so in love with this, and there seems to be this innate feeling with all the wrestlers I talk to that they just adore what they do and they feel really at home in the ring. Can you sort of put that into words for me?
I think it's different for everybody. So everybody has their own relationship to this because it's an artistry. To me, what we do is like the most artistic form of martial arts, right? And so that's, for me, it was, that's how I looked at it. And I looked at it as like a discipline, and I was constantly trying to improve in this, that, and the other thing. And this is how I went out and expressed myself. And this is where I felt at home, and this is where I felt the most joy and the sensations. Like, you can't, I get goosebumps.
Genuine goosebumps.
Genuine
goosebumps.
Genuine goosebumps thinking about it now, because there's a visceral reaction to the experience that I haven't found in anything else, right? This, and it's weird because it's a weird mindset of, okay, you're half fighter, half actor, half like all these different things, half entertainer, all these different things, but being out there and doing whatever it is that you consider it, whether some people just consider it entertainment, right? Booker T talks about he just loves to go out there and entertain, right? And different people have different perspectives on how they view what we actually do out there. I looked at it from I loved wrestling when I love wrestling the most is when it feels like it's a competition, right? And so that's what I always felt when I was out there, and then added the entertainment parts of it. But then whatever it is that you're out there and you're feeling it and you're in the zone, and then you get these reactions, and it's like, it's unlike anything else, right? Like, for example, say football in the UK, right? I'm sure they zone out the fans a lot of the times because they have to be so focused on okay, I have to win. What we're doing is a performance, so we can also focus on our performance, but we can also absorb these feelings, right? And it's good and bad, right? So when you're out there in front of 70,000 people and they're all chanting yes, it's like, oh, this is awesome. When you're out there in front of 30 people and you can hear the guy in the front row say, man, this guy sucks. It's like but it's still like, it's that personal feeling that everybody gets when they go out there. It's hard to explain to people who have never done it.
And also, I guess fans' reactions can quite often dictate, or sometimes dictate and change things that happen within the match. Like
Absolutely,
you're reacting to everything they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. When the people who are really, really good at this are able to change and make things, even if the fans don't want what they're giving them, they find a way to make the fans enjoy what they're presenting.
Yeah. And do you miss it?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Will we ever see you back in the ring again?
So if you were to ask WWE, the answer would be no.
But I wanted to ask you about The Miz, because they're spending a lot of TV time sort of teasing this potential feud between you and The Miz. Is that going to have some kind of payoff?
So, as far as I know, no.
But it needs to have, surely.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
You would think. But you know, the one thing about this and any form of entertainment or fighting or sport is never say never, right? Like, I keep going to different things, and I keep working on the like the doctor standpoint of it. Is like, okay, is there anything that I can do more to get cleared?
Yeah.
And right now I've done everything that I can possibly do, and so I still look at different things and still look at doing this and that. But you know, it's just, I don't know. It's an unfortunate scenario to me, but at the same time, I'm very grateful for the amount of time that I had being able to do this, and like WWE gave me this amazing platform to be able to go out. Like, the most people I wrestled in front of like 30,000 people for New Japan, but I was like on the undercard, right? But most times in the United States, I would wrestle in front of a couple hundred people. Like, this was an opportunity to go out there and wrestle in front of thousands of people. In 2013, I did 227 matches, which is probably why I had neck surgery in 2014. But I did 227 matches in 2013. Almost all of them were in front of more than 3,000 or 4,000 people, you know, and then as high as the 70,000+ people. So it's just been an incredible experience just being able to be a part of this.
And just wait for this to go past. You just mentioned your neck surgery. Your sister-in-law, Nikki, has just had, I mean, near career-ending neck surgery. For people who watch this documentary who may not, you know, they use the F word, oh, it's just fake. What would you say to people that have those sort of misconceptions? Because the risks, especially in a match that Charlotte and Sasha have just had, the risks are very real, right?
Yeah, I mean, the risks are very real for every match. One of the things with Nicole was she was doing that rack attack every night, and you just think about it, and nobody stops and thinks, right? Like, hey, I'm gonna have them up there, and then I'm gonna drop to my knees and drop. Okay, some of our women are smaller, but some of our women she's done it to women who weigh 160, 170 pounds, right? Yeah. And then just dropping that right down on your neck, and then on top of that, all the falls, and then on top of that, you know, any little thing can go wrong. You know, my career-ending concussion was just a boot to the face, right? Like, it wasn't a Hell in a Cell, it wasn't a street fight, it wasn't a chair shot, it wasn't some risky thing. It was just, I was draped on the ropes, and I got booted in the face, and that was it, you know? Yeah. And so it's every time we step out there, there's the risk. But that's why we tell people not to try it at home. And for the most part, what we do it very safely. That's why I was able to wrestle 227 matches in 2013. Yeah. Like, when I had my neck surgery in 2014, that was the first time I'd ever taken a significant amount of time off in my entire career, right? Like, I wrestled since 1999. I took 3 months off at the end of 2006 because I had separated my shoulder, but didn't even have surgery, and then I was right back to it. And the whole rest of the time, I never took more than a week or two off my entire career. So.
Amazing. Well, we look forward to seeing you in the main event of WrestleMania next year with The Miz.
Probably not going to happen, but yeah.
Daniel, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Time. And congratulations on
the
little baby girl.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
When's the due date?
April 30th.
Okay. That's going to come around quickly.
Yeah, it's going to come around, and especially because WrestleMania is around that time.
Yeah.
Then we have the European tour right after that, and then Brie will be due.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's great news.
Yeah. Man.